Hello guys, Shit Gameplays, I'm Fabio Pisco and welcome to my channel. As for this video, I have a video telling you basically that you should and you want to buy a GPU right now.
The more GPUs you buy, the more money you save.
Because in case you don't really know, the DDR5 RAM prices have been increasing like a lot lately. And when I say a lot, I mean like double the price it was before. And we're talking about like 1-2 months, and it's already going from, let's say, $90, sometimes even less than that, like $85, $80 to over $200.
Thank you, kind sir.
For example, I bought this RAM kit, exactly the same RAM kit, the Flare X5, for I believe it was something like 100 euros, and now it's currently the same exact one at $269. And this supposedly has to do with AI, because companies are buying lots and lots of DDR to make their new supercomputers, AI-wise, whatever. What it means for the current user is that you're completely screwed if you want to build a new AM5 system or something with a Core Ultra CPUs, because you need DDR5 and DDR5 prices are going through the roof. I mean, 16 gigabytes, only one RAM stick, and we're talking about $99, which is quite insane if you think that DDR5 has been released like 4 or 5 years ago. Now, what has this to do with the GPU prices? But before, I also have to tell you about one of the best deals that you can get. Today's sponsor,
GVG Mall.
bringing you lots of software deals like Windows 10, Windows 11, Office 2019 or 2021 with a new Windows 11 design. And for all of these, you can use my SKG discount code for 30% off, getting a Windows 11 serial key for $22 and a Windows 10 one for only $15. Then use the key on your Windows settings and you'll have an activated system. Now, what has this to do with the GPU prices? Well, if DDR5 prices are going higher and higher, I should say, it has to do with stock, because we have low stock, and if we have low stock on the DDR5, most likely the next thing to go out of stock are the GPUs with GDDR6 and especially GDDR7, which is the VRAM inside the Nvidia GPUs, while the AMD GPUs currently have GDDR6, so in theory, they shouldn't have such price hikes as we've seen on the RAM side, and especially like we're going to see on the Nvidia side, since they use GDDR7, but still, the prices will increase. And in case you don't believe me, well, you have brands like for example, Powercolor, kind of hinting that the prices will scale up. For example, in this article from VideoCard saying, gamers, prepare your wallets for Black Friday, it may be your last chance to buy a GPU at good price, suggests, and again, suggests Powercolor, because they know that the prices will increase. There are several reasons why I'm telling you to buy a GPU right now. The first one is because prices will increase, and the second one is because prices are the best they ever were since the beginning of this year. We had GPUs like the 9070 XT that were costing around $700, $800, with some lucky people being able to buy them at MSRP, and they are now finally at MSRP. If you go look at Newegg, for example, you have the bestseller GPU on the Black Friday deals, which is the ASRock Challenger RX 9070 XT. I'm kind of babbling around RX, but well, RX 9070 XT, the number one bestseller, and it's obvious the reason why it's the bestseller, because it is a card performing as well as the RTX 5070 Ti. Again, and we have now FSR 4, we're going to have FSR Redstone, and it costs $599, which is the MSRP price, something that we haven't seen since the card was released. And if you're not looking for a 9070 XT, if you're looking at something cheaper, I would say, you have the RX 9060 XT, and again, something really close to MSRP prices. Let's see what we have here. If we're going for the 8GB version, we have a decent model at $279. I would go to the Steel Legend, of course, it only costs like $10 more, and it is at $289. Very good model. So for the 8GB version, which isn't that bad, because the 9060 XT, unlike the 7600 XT, has 16 PCIe lanes. Physical PCIe lanes, while the previous generation has only 8. So even with 8 gigabytes, it will perform considerably better in RAM-bound scenarios or VRAM-bound scenarios. And if you want the 16 gigabytes version, well, you have the ASRock Challenger, which is a good model, and I know that because I have this exact model, and I can state, by the way, you can watch, for example, you can go to my video section and watch the videos that I made with 40 and 50 games tested on this card at 1080p and 1440p, so you know that the temperatures and so on, in terms of noise as well, it is a very good card, and it is currently at $369, the 16GB version, so it is definitely worth it. And if we're talking about other GPUs, let's say Nvidia GPUs, you can also go with a 5070 Ti, and the 5070 Ti is currently at MSRP as well, but the MSRP is around $150 above the MSRP of the RX 9070 XT. So when both GPUs were at the same price, I would always tell you to go with a 5070 Ti 16GB, because it's quite simple. If you have two GPUs at the same price, but one GPU has lower power draw, has more features, has features in more games, it's easy to go with that GPU. But as soon as we go to an MSRP of $599 with the RX 9070 XT, the 9070 XT is definitely the way to go. While the 5070 Ti is also at MSRP, but its MSRP is $749. Again, $150 above the 9070 XT. And for $150, you can buy a new Nvme. Well, you can buy a portion of your new RAM kit if you need one, DDR5, since the prices hiked a lot. You can buy a way better CPU, so with that price difference, you can buy many things. A better RAM kit, a better CPU, you can buy an Nvme, and that's where the difference is. If you don't really care about the money, well, you shouldn't be watching this video because you can just buy whatever you want. But if you want to take my advice, the 9070 XT is definitely the best GPU that you want to get right now, because again, prices will hike. If you want to get the 5070 Ti, you can get it as well, and get it now because the prices will hike. If we go to the 5080, the 5080 is also at MSRP, so if you're looking for a higher tier card, you can get the 5080 and you can get it right now at MSRP. For me, it's still a lot of money for a GPU, that's why I usually advise the 9070 XT, but I mean, it's at MSRP prices. So again, if you want to get a more expensive card like the 5080, go for it. It is the right time, definitely. But yeah, I believe that the 5090 is the only card that isn't currently at MSRP. Even if you're looking for lower tier cards like the 5060 Ti, they are also at MSRP. Again, $399, $369, depending if you're getting the 8GB or the 16GB model. So yeah, the time is now, guys. If you want to get a GPU, just get it right now, otherwise you'll lose the opportunity of getting one at MSRP. If you want my advice in terms of the best build that you can get, the 9070 XT again is the way to go, $599. The 9070 non-XT, I believe the prices aren't as appealing. For example, the 9070 here, the Reaper model from Powercolor, is at $579, which is $20 below the pure version from Sapphire on the 9070 XT, and we know that the 9070 XT is considerably faster, so it makes no sense to get the normal model of the 9070 non-XT. We have another one for $559, and this is a better deal, I would say, like $40 less. It should be like $60, $70 less for the non-XT model, but it is what it is, so yeah. You have lots of models for the XT1, it's way better to get the XT model right now because they're both at MSRP. And if you're looking for CPUs, the deals are also very good. Let's say that you want a new CPU and you want to go with the 9000 series, you want to upgrade. You have the Ryzen 7 9700X at $329, which is a fairly good deal, I would say. But if you ask me, you have better deals like the Ryzen 7 7800X 3D, which in terms of gaming performance will be considerably better, and you have it for $369, which is a very good price. And even the 9800X 3D, I believe, is currently at MSRP or below MSRP. So if you want the best gaming CPU in the world right now, you have it for $479, which for a lot of people is a lot of money, definitely, but it is the best gaming CPU around, so it is what it is. You can't really ask for much if you're buying the better thing of something. It is obviously going to be expensive. Now, if you want something cheaper, you have the Ryzen 7 7700 non-XT. I mean, it costs $279. You still have 8 cores, 16 threads, $279 again, and you have a CPU cooler in the box. The CPU cooler isn't that great, and you can buy CPU coolers for, let's say, 30 bucks, 30, 40 bucks, decent coolers from Thermaltake. But again, if you can't really do it right now, you have a cooler inside the box, and it's $279, which to me is a very good price. If you want it in bulk, you don't really need the box, you don't really need anything else, you just need a CPU, you can get one for $218, and this is a massive deal for the Ryzen 7 7700. If you're looking for a new build, a new CPU, this is the one to get. You don't really want to get 6 cores and 12 threads right now, unless you're buying a CPU with 6 cores and 12 threads with 3D cache, or if you're really going into a really small budget. If you have a really small budget, of course, go 6 cores, 12 threads. But if you are not in a really tight budget, just get this one, $218, or again, if you want just gaming performance, you can get the most recently released, the Ryzen 5, and I was actually looking for the 5500X3D, which is one of the CPUs that I'm reviewing right now, and I'll make a video about it, and it seems that Newegg actually doesn't have that CPU, which would be a very good deal for like 200 bucks, and in terms of gaming performance, it is actually very decent, much better than, let's say, the 7600X, or you can get the 7600X 3D as well, but the prices aren't that great. If you really want to go cheap and you can't just spare any more money, you also have this option, the 7500F. But in terms of gaming performance, of course that even the 7700 will be consistently better, of course, than the 7500F, and you'll have more stability, higher smoothness because you have more cores and threads. But generally, I would say that you can go with this. The 7600, for example, if you are really on a tight budget, for $145 you can get the 7500F, which for $145 is definitely a huge deal. And we've talked about GPUs before. I gave you a glimpse of what CPUs you could buy for the better price, and now we can talk a bit about the motherboards with the BIS 650 ones, and we can get really cheap ones right now, like $80, $90. You have MSI, of course, you have Asus Prime, you have lots of motherboards at $99, and if you want to go for the better one, sorry, you have 120, 130, 140, so you have lots of good motherboards. If you want more features, you can still go with the X870, sorry, and you can still get those for like 200 bucks, and in some scenarios even less than that. If you go for the lower tiers, X870, you can get them, as you can see, open box ones for 156, 149, 169. So there's absolutely no reason for you to not build your PC right now. If you're looking into building your computer right now, this is the time. DDR5 prices are hiking a lot, they are quite expensive, but at the same time, motherboards, CPUs, and GPUs are at the best prices they have been in 2025. If you're thinking about it, if you're having doubts, do it. It's the best time to do it. And well guys, that's all for today's simple video, just me giving you some tips on motherboards, CPUs, GPUs to buy, whatever you want. You can, even in terms of CPUs and motherboards, you can go for the Core Ultra ones, for the Intel ones. I wouldn't really advise it that much as of now, because we don't really know if the next generation CPUs will still be on the same motherboard or not, and they most likely will not. So you would be buying a dead socket instead of AM5 that will have at least Zen 6 and maybe even Zen 7, so it's not a dead socket at all, hence why I'm advising it. And yeah, you now know what GPUs to buy, CPUs, motherboards, and so on, so it's all up to you. But in my opinion, again, this is the best time to buy a computer, definitely. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video. Cheers.